But a lot of feminists they came forward and said that word like Kanya Dan should not be used because Dan means a commodity. So if the government also comes up with the names like this, then don't you think it is actually trying to propagate or rather popularize this whole idea about that women is seen as a commodity?
Ma'am, you are right that the term Kanyadan, they are not supported by many feminists. But the basic idea of the government is to reduce the child marriages. And yes, after formation of a committee and recognizing the impact that the term is having negatively on the society, they can come up with a new name so that
They can, because it's a wrong
it
thing
is a
to
wrong
do
thing
this.
to do.
Okay. Um, you mentioned that you did something with Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. That is, you were a team leader in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. What is this whole thing about Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? How would you explain to a person who does not know about this?
So basically, the idea of the government in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is that the rural areas do not have any technological innovation, and there is a gap between education level there. So it was mainly formed so that the technical institutions can directly connect with the rural areas. So each technical institution was given a responsibility to adopt 5 villages for socio-economic development there. So the students there visited the villages and form a closed feedback system in which they informed about the major irregularities to the government, and simultaneously steps were taken to improve what was lacking there. So it is.
Okay, so you mean say technology and technical knowledge is very, very important.
Yes.
But on the other side, we think, we hear that a lot of children, because of addiction to social media and all, are really disturbing their life, patterns or sleep patterns. Do you agree with that? And also, there is a lot of mental health issues.
Ma'am, everything has a bane and a boon. Like the pros and cons of technology is there. The technology on the one hand is bringing several advantages, like it is increasing the reach of education to the last mile, and also there are certain disadvantages. So they should be used in a controlled and regulated manner, and parents' advice should be followed by students. That should be done.
What is most important for a socialization process of a child?
The first form of socialization of a child is through the parents and family. That is the most important. And simultaneously, as the child grows up, his peers, teachers, and subsequently social media, and they all have their influence.
Okay. What was your essay about?
Essay was about birds in paradise, as it was situated in the Kevalada National Park. So it highlighted the importance of birds that were coming in.
And what is the importance of birds?
Ma'am, the importance of bird is that they maintain the ecological balance there. For example, the main reason of migration can be allocated that in the tropical region during the monsoon season, there is an increase in biodiversity and feed. And also in the colder areas, there is no feed available. So birds migrate to the region and they control the diversity there. So this is how the whole ecology works on a balance and equilibrium. So
okay. Rajasthan is considered to be one of the most important tourist destination. Why?
Ma'am, Rajasthan has a significant amount of history and culture which is directly related to tourism. The government has also started policy of tourism which inculcates the desert tourism, that heritage tourism and the marriage tourism. So there are various UNESCO World Heritage sites. For example, the forts of Amer, Jaigarh, Kumbhalgarh and Chittorgarh, they are also already in the World Heritage Sites, and the UNESCO Natural Heritage Site is Kevalada National Park. So, and due to its culture, cuisine, and many other folk dances, so it is a center for tourism.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'll give you a situation. Supposing you are Chief Secretary of Delhi. Now, tell me, as far as Delhi's vulnerability and preparedness for earthquakes is concerned. So first tell me what is the vulnerability in a couple of sentences. Then what is the present preparedness? Third, as Chief Secretary, what would you do to equip it to handle earthquakes?
Ma'am, vulnerability can be decided by the earthquake zoning, like the Delhi falls in the zone 4. So it is extremely vulnerable to the earthquake. And the present conditions, if we see, like there are the seismic codes that have been issued by the government, which needs to be implemented while the formation of any building. and certain awareness guidelines.
What are these codes? If you just simplify and tell us 2-3 points.
Ma'am, 2-3 points are in the seismic zones which have high vulnerability. The seismic retrofitting should be done of the structures, and in the constructions, use of dampeners and structures should be there, so that if there is an earthquake, then the structure would
Is
not
it
fall off.
practically possible to do it?
Ma'am, it is practically
And
possible.
what is the kind of cost it will entail?
Ma'am, the cost, the exact cost I am not aware, but if we see the construction in the initial phase, if it is inculcated, then it will only cost a marginal above the what is the actual cost. So with the help of some precaution, we can inculcate these things. And as a chief secretary, if I am posted as a chief secretary, then I will ensure that in the municipal area, the seismic codes are being implemented in all over the district. And also there are certain awareness programs, like while during an earthquake, what the people need to do. There shall be some mock drills that can be organized, so that the awareness
Mostly
levels.
those are useless because it's the first 3 seconds and after that it's over, it's too late. If I'm on the 10th floor of a multi-story, I can do precious little. Isn't it?
Ma'am, we can like earthquake. It cannot be avoided. But the after effects and the disadvantages that the earthquake causes.
Like what
can
if
be
I'm on the 10th
reduced.
floor of a building? Then what is the precaution that I should take?
Ma'am, if you are at the 10th floor of the building, if you hear or if there is a seismic activity, you can hide underneath the table or some structure, so that your body can be protected. So this is the, if you don't have time to come out of the
But on the
building.
10th floor, the danger is not from the top but to sink below.
Ma'am, if you don't have the time, then this is the only step that you can take to hide beneath a table or a bed.
So if I have a hammer, everything looks like a nail to me. All right. So what else can I do? Will you do? And so why, if they already have a code, why is it not being enforced?
Ma'am, due to lax implementation by the authorities and
But why?
Ma'am, there is a profit margin that the builder use. They use suboptimal quantity of material and don't implement the proper codes. That is why to gain
God
their
knows
profit.
if no, they're two separate things. Suboptimal quantity of material and not implementing code are two different things. Those are techniques, and this is material, right? So, what prevents people from taking action in that matter, from enforcing it? We know that we are sitting on a powder keg. We haven't had any very big earthquake. We are lucky.
Ma'am, during the construction of the buildings, the authorities also don't care that much, so that there is.
So, how will you make them care? What plan of action will you have?
Ma'am, plan of action should be according to that the authorities should strictly implement the codes.
They're not doing it. So, as chief secretary, what will you do?
Ma'am, from the top level, I will ensure that they are proper
Tell us how,
implementation
not
is
what
there.
you will do. How will you do it?
Ma'am, it has to be done on the dual front. For example, the awareness level in the people should be increased, so that they should know that whether if they are purchasing a house, that the house and the building have followed proper seismic codes and proper laws are there. And secondly, on the clearances and the issuance of clearances that any builder requires, so it must ensure that the seismic codes are there and regulatory authorities
I'm
should.
sure they get that clearance. I'm sure that they get that clearance. Actually, whether they do it or not, one doesn't know. All the clearances they have to take, they all take on paper, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.